UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is set to unveil a three-tier lockdown plan amid a surge in coronavirus cases there. The Prime Minister will be addressing the Parliament amid criticism after media leaks had detailed the government's plan regarding COVID-19. Johnson was yet to discuss the restrictions with the regional leaders. The government is expected to roll out stricter measures now to contain the spread of COVID-19. The authorities will be introducing a new alert system under which areas will be classified as medium, high and very high risk based on the rate of transmission of the virus. Bars and cafes are likely to remain shut. In fact, the government is also mulling a ban on overnight stays. The new plan is being seen as an attempt to make restrictions uniform and transparent. According to a report, meanwhile, Liverpool will be the only part to be placed in the high-risk category. The government has said that it would pay up to 2/3 of staff monthly wages to firms forced to close over the winter months. The new rules will most likely not be imposed on Scotland and Northern Ireland, which have separate health services. With nearly 43,000 coronavirus cases, the UK is among the worst hit European nations. Joining us on the broadcast live this minute is our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark. Mandy, earlier there was a lot of confusion regarding the implementation of the measures. Also, the UK Prime Minister unable to explain why there were these different categories, and with the relaxation in some parts, there was a chaos and a lot of people were unable to really follow the guidelines as well. What is the three-tier plan that is now on the horizon?
Exactly right. There was so much misinterpretation or people interpreting the rules to their liking, because the local lockdowns had certain measures, but it was unclear. It was different for each different area. So this is to bring uniformity and conformity across England. As you rightly said, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have devolved governments and they have their own healthcare system. This is simply for England, but it's a bit like a traffic light system: medium, high, very high. Very high, we are already aware that Liverpool will be placed under those extreme lockdown conditions, the closure of pubs and bars, casinos, gyms, anywhere where people will be gathering. What's interesting is there's no clear deadline to how long they will stay in this category. One of the health ministers was going around the radio today ahead of this announcement, saying that they hope those measures will be done by Christmas. Now that's already 2 months plus ahead. So these lockdown measures will come into force, but they could be here for an awfully long time. And I think that has many people very concerned about it. But they want to make it clear that these measures have to be strict and stay in place for a long time to bring down that R rate. It is going exponentially, and particularly in England, it's the north of the country that is currently suffering the most. So we can expect to see severe or that very high areas in the north, possibly Manchester, also Yorkshire.
Right. The Health Secretary had already mentioned as a warning to the people at large that they must follow the guidelines or they will get stricter. The very fact that the norms are now becoming a three-tier system comes as no surprise. It's been talked about for a while. But the other part is the implementation. Will those fines that were earlier announced still remain?
Yes, those there had been a promise of the lockdown measures that were tightened again at the start of autumn, to have those marshals where people would be patrolling the streets and be able to deliver on-the-spot fines. There hasn't been a lot of reporting of those on-the-spot fines, possibly because some of them are quite harsh. They want to first encourage people to disperse, but the more people flout these rules, and we have been seeing continuous and repeated offences, you can expect that they will get those very harsh fees. One, if you have too many people in your home currently in England, that's breaking the rule of 6. You could be charged £10,000. That is a very severe penalty. It hasn't been used. It's been used more of a deterrent, but we might see those fees coming into place if people keep flouting it.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Mandy, thanks very much. Coming back to you as and when we do have further updates on that front. On to the latest coming in from the United States.